hi, welcome to Big Buddy, Pork the Porker. So it's Brian Dressel. With me, as always, is Matt Confucius Zombie Dog Dykes.
I'm gonna say, like, did you forget the zombie dog part? 'Cause you did them all the way around then. I
Well,
got very confused. You confused me with your Confucius zombie dog.
Perfect. That wasn't the plan at all. It was really just like I couldn't pick which one I wanted to do for you. And as I was trying to pick it, I just said it first instead of saying zombie dog first. That's the very boring explanation of what happened. But now that we're all on the same page, we also have Joel Paul the Apostle DeWitt.
I'm gonna skip right over that and mention that about 10 minutes before this recording started. So I'm on a laptop in a what do you call it? Interrogation room.
Interrogation room, yeah.
Interrogation room. Yeah. So this laptop, I've notoriously had a problem with the microphone sounding all tinny, like you're like recording in a tin can. Did you know computers default to having some sort of microphone enhancement tool?
Yeah, a lot of
Oh,
them
the
do.
echo,
And
the echo
it-
thing.
And
Yeah.
that made it worse. So remove it and magically it works. So you're welcome, listening audience.
You know what?
I think I've
You know
said I've seen like something in the past where like the default setting is to play the microphone through the microphone again or something. So it's almost like this weird reverb sound. I remember like one of my work laptops was doing that, and like everyone's like it sounds like you're at a concert in like Wembley Stadium, and like
hey,
that's
Joel.
what you're saying.
Joel, do you want to know something? I mean, I grew up
You're gonna
Catholic.
tell us anyway.
Right. I grew up Catholic, and that is something that is exactly something.
Perfect, because we also have Ryan Jesus Luke.
Damn it! Get my joke out. What was my nickname?
Jesus. As soon as you said raised Catholic, I'm like, all right, we got one.
Fine.
Just so you know, this was a Heart's top 10 list from the 1992 edition of whatever the fuck Heart is.
Fork.
Sounds very Jesus-y.
I mean, Jesus is number 3. Before above him is Isaac Newton, so it's not super Jesus-y, you know. And then Muhammad.
Ryan, did you just do the cross?
Sure did.
And my arm just set on fire.
Go out and proselytize, St. Paul.
I am Catholic. I'm diet Catholic. So like I married into Catholicism. So that took me a lot longer than I thought it was. Like the right motion. And let me tell you how much you stand out like a sore thumb when you go to church and you don't know what you're doing with that.
Yeah. And Catholics take that shit seriously, man.
They changed the lyrics to all their words or all their prayers too.
Yeah,
because I myself am Catholic light, and I'm like, what do I say now?
See, I was born and raised Catholic. There was no light to it. I know all the words, I know all the motions, and I do not participate anymore.
No, you don't.
I mean, I'm full fat atheist, so if you think you stand out, Joel, imagine me walking through a church and setting on fire. I definitely stand out more.
Well, I was going to say,
a burning person in the background
are you just going to wear a shirt saying there is no God watching cathedral? Yeah, you'll probably stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to do that. The burning part is a bit more obvious.
Kelly's sister, apparently they went to the Sistine Chapel, and when they walked in, she put her fingers into the holy water and went, "Tss."
What's the 16 chapel? Is that like 16 chapels together?
It's the one after the 15th chapel.
Okay.
Before the 17th. Come on.
Yes, I have perfect diction and never have problems stumbling over my words. So this is very out of character for me.
See, now I'm just thinking about someone doing like a cosplay of the Kurgan from Highlander and going into a church and just redoing that entire scene, because that would be hilarious.
Help is other people is the episode on docket today.
There was no segue.
There was not. There was no opportunity.
We were just
whatsoever.
going
just gotta pull the ripcord.
I think that was the best segue.
Yeah, it's like we're just gonna dive right into this. As the episode does, I'm really just diving right into this. I love the opening ad. The opening ad for the final of The Good Place is fantastic.
I mean, the day that everything was chocolate.
Yeah, the day that everything was chocolate. Her incredibly desperate ploy of like, let's celebrate 1 year by doing really good things for each other.
I just love the cut to Michael's like, no, take that out.
Yeah, that one was a bit much. But they've done it. They're at the 364th day out of 365 days. Um, they're at the end, or actually, they're on the very last day, aren't they? 365. They've done it.
I think so, yeah.
This is the
It's a shame it
finale.
wasn't
Like 10
leap year.
hours left.
Yeah,
10 hours.
10 hours of the experiment left, and they need to see how they've done. Not well is where I'm gonna go. Things did not go as planned. Brent never got better. He just faked it really good. And Simone's entire motivation has been cooked for quite a while as she has figured out that they are not in the actual good place. Thanks a lot, Simone. Way to be smart.
There's something interesting about how Simone had to gather this body of evidence to start breaking down the issue first, whereas Eleanor just sort of through experience kind of just figured it out.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I
the
don't know. I
difference
found that
between
interesting.
it's the difference between kind of street smarts and book smarts. Like
Yeah.
Eleanor's comes at it from a very basic, this is what I'm seeing, whereas Simone has a more sort of academic approach to it and very sort of scientific, like, okay, well, we need to analyze this and test this and, repeat the tests and kind of all that sort of stuff. That's why when she pulls out that sort of big board, it is a bit more kind of analytical than just Eleanor going, wow, we're in the bad place, guys.
Yeah, it's just another example of the creators of the show understanding the characters they've built.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
yeah, totally.
I'm sure we'll talk about some of this through the wrap-ups, but like they're they're very good at keeping these characters true to I don't what do you call it? There's some sort of like character library thing or
Like
Bible,
the show
right?
Bible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I agree. And like the thing that I find really interesting is like it's the stuff that they don't say and they just show. Like you've been told this whole time that like you've never been told that soulmates are actually real. We're gonna find out in is it in this episode or we find out in the next episode?
The
In the next one with the Cheaty one.
Ne-
Is
No, it's the
Yeah.
answer.
the
so
the
yeah,
one
so that
after
actually
the
be the
next
next
one.
the very next episode of the
Yep.
podcast. We'll find out more about the whole soulmate thing. But we've never really been given like a firm answer on that up until next week's podcast. But we've been shown that Eleanor and Chidi work together in almost any possible scenario. And at the same time, we've seen Chidi with other women, and he does okay. And we see him with Simone, who he thinks is his soulmate because Eleanor has told him his soulmate. But you can see the differences of like where they actually don't sync up as well as he and Eleanor, or yeah, he and Eleanor do. Like the fact that she had to hide this research from him. Eleanor would never hide anything like that from him. She'd want his help. She'd want to be working with him on everything, and he would with her. Whereas the two of them, they keep things from each other. He keeps.
And then we also get that Chidi was hiding
yeah,
Jason
that's what I'd
from
say.
her
He
as
kept
well.
he kept Jason from her. She kept her research from him.
Yeah.
Stuff that does not happen between Chidi and Eleanor. And granted, their circumstances are different, but even when they're not, like when she's in Australia, she still can't keep things from him. Like when she wants to confess her love to him, like again, we get in that flashback in next week's podcast. I'll stop referencing next week soon, I promise. But when we see those flashbacks, she can't keep secrets from him. When she wants to tell him that she loves him, it's killing her to hold that inside. Like that's just something that she can't do. I like seeing those slight differences in those relationships because it's not saying that Simone is bad or not even a good match for Chidi. It's just not the best match for Chidi.
They never
It's just
gel.
gonna-
That
Yeah,
group never gels the way that the original Brainy Bunch do, and that's part of why, like you see things fall apart. It's why, uh, Chidi and Simone. It's kind of like when they were alive. It's like they're in a relationship. Chidi is happy. Yes, he's making some more decisive decisions, but they don't have that camaraderie that him and Eleanor had. And I think part of it is because the dynamic of their relationship, Eleanor and Chidi, for all these was the whole, you got to help me out. I'm not supposed to be there. But instead, this time it's with him and Jason specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different kind of bond, but even then, it's like they're so different that I don't think they could really gel in a
One
way
thing
that would make the group come together.
Yeah.
One thing I was just kind of thinking about too is just thinking about body language. Like if you look at the four, especially in the beginning scene when they're all in the room together, they're not close. Like they're close, but they're not like the four close. Like if you ever watch the four or see, everyone is always sitting by someone.
Yeah.
And they're always connected. And I
They are now. They
They're-
are now, but they weren't in the beginning, really.
Right.
And I think
And
that's what like the difference with this group is that first group, they did gel together.
Right,
And they
yeah.
did eventually come together, but this one hasn't managed that.
Right. But with Simone and Chidi, like when you watch them together, it's either they kiss, they embrace, or they're standing side by side. Whereas with him and Eleanor, you get more of the cuddly feeling. Like it makes you feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
You know what it
Yeah,
is? It's
Chidi
like
and Ella
four
are more of a
friends.
couple.
It's like four friends who keep in touch over time versus four people you see at your high school
yearly.
reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that.
And
I like that.
because the new group, it's like they're cordial, they're friendly enough. Then there's Brent, and you know it is that whole like okay, like we hung out in high school and we enjoyed our time well enough, but like I'm okay not seeing Brent anymore, you know, and
Yeah.
You know,
Brent seems
it's
fine with it too. So
you
Yeah.
know what's a good example? A good thing is like it's like you like either work friends or friends that you have, then you sort of you move away, you go to another job, or you move away, and you can like, oh yeah, we'll keep in touch, and then you just never do because there's never that kind of like draw. But then the core group is the one where like they would move away, but they would still keep in touch. They would regularly talk.
Right.
man,
Whereas
Yeah.
what are
like
work friends?
I don't know.
I don't
Matt-
know.
People who you
Matt,
pretend
Matt,
you're
that was
friendly
very
with.
insensitive of you. Minus 13 points.
Fuck off.
Fork off, please.
No,
This
I was
feels
trying to
like
get more
no,
negative
this
points.
this is
That
like
was a
senior
negative
year.
point thing.
This is
'Cause I
like
was gonna- I
senior
was
year
gonna-
of the podcast series where it's like you just kind of stop trying at some
Yeah.
point.
No, it's like we've been picked up for a final season that after we're being cancelled and they moved us to cable, so we can say like fuck.
Oh, there you
now.
go. Yeah. Except it's not. Fork, please. All right. So
Hey, I'm just getting those extra like -6 points.
yeah, you got to keep grabbing those.
Yeah.
So with all this in mind, like this whole conversation, it does kind of bleed well into where the episode goes, which is they realize that because they've been found out because of this, they might not have succeeded and they need to take some bold swings. So the first swing they come up with is they have to ask Michael. Michael has asked if he trusts them while he's trying to do like close-up magic, which is just kind of adorable and sad in a way.
Doctor, what was his? Oh Jesus Christ! I wrote it down
no,
somewhere.
I thought I did too.
Shit, where's it
There-
gone?
There
I
is-
definitely wrote it down.
You're looking for his name.
Dr. Presto.
Dr.
Magnificent,
Presto.
That's
magnificent
it.
Dr. Presto. How?
Yeah,
There is something
so
really
good.
delightful about Michael being so amused by these sleight of hand tricks.
Yeah.
When they've literally got everything in the palm of their hand. And he could actually probably do real magic,
Yep.
and impress people, but he just wants to replace that dollar with 3/4.
But he
And he
even
just-
and he even calls that out. She's like, we can do actual magic. Everyone was able to fly yesterday. Somebody's like, yeah, but this is harder.
The thing is as well that he's so excited about that, but then you get some amazing sight gags as well of like when he goes don't and he like slaps his hands on his
And the
forehead and
coins explode.
all the coins fly out and he's like that wasn't supposed to happen.
But anyhow, so he agrees. They agree to let him put on a show that's all designed to get Brent on stage, fake another sinkhole, and have Brent fall into it. Here is the trial. Here it is. Did these guys actually get better? Will they help Brent, even though he is, how do they say, the opposite of a box of donuts?
Yes.
Like a toilet full of
A
broccoli.
toilet full of broccoli.
Toilet full of broccoli.
Full of broccoli.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the answer is, drum roll, no.
No.
No, they won't do it. And it's
Except for
like,
Chidi.
except
But
for
to be fair, Simone also so Chidi's point is very cheaty. It's like you have to help, blah 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 blah. But Simone's point, like she kind of won me over on the fact that Brent has been given thousands of chances to be a good person, like, and he has just failed miserably each time. So why should you risk your life to save him when he probably wouldn't even look into the hole and see if you'd even grabbed hold. He'd just be like, okay.
But I think that's like, it just comes down to like your own take on this philosophy stuff. Because like where Chidi comes from is it doesn't matter. because it doesn't matter who he's helping. It could be the worst person ever, but it's still a person, and it's up to him to help if he can help. And that's just like that's where they boil down to. Like it's like the Hippocratic Oath. It doesn't matter if that's a murderer on your operating table. It's your job to keep him alive. So I think that's kind of where Chidi goes, and that's not where Simone or John goes. Obviously, John. I was not surprised by John. The Simone one, when this first aired, surprised me a little bit because it didn't feel as true to Simone, but she does sell it really well, and I get it. I think I was just more disappointed that she wasn't more in line with where Chidi was, and I was a little disappointed that the experiment clearly failed.
Her argument is what sort of like, the way that she sort of sells the argument is why I buy that more. Like if she'd have just gone, no, like I'm not like you, like from everything we know of Simone, that wouldn't have made sense. But she makes a really compelling argument as to why should we try and save him.
Yeah,
that also felt very Brent specific in that, like he is actively a terrible person. They talked about how many chances, that they've given them. She says to Chidi when they're having that argument. It goes back to the analytical mind versus the philosophical mind, and in the world they seem to be able to come to a consensus together in them being in a relationship in some ways, but they also didn't have this level of seriousness to deal with at the time either. So maybe it's the when push comes to shove thing, you sort of go back to your baser instincts.
That's the beauty of the test as well, because like they even point out it has to be Brent that falls in.
Yeah,
because if it's anyone else,
but what's
like they would risk their lives to save like Chidi or Simone, John.
What's really great about this is that the writers really do a good job of laying it on the line. Like Simone's the one. Like whatever Simone does could make or break it. You're either going to jump in or you're going to leave. And I love how they filmed it, because it's that cut of Chidi like, what are we going to do? And after her whole thing, and then you just see the car drive away. Like that's what makes it such genius writing, is because for a moment you had that hope, but it still went the way you didn't want it to go.
Yeah.
It's Chidi putting his argument across, and then it cuts back to Simone, and she just goes, no. And it's like the editing on that and the writing, as you were saying, like, but the editing is just perfect as well, because it cuts to her having this kind of look on her face of where you think, oh, maybe he's convinced her, and then it's just like, no.
And the car,
and then like she goes into a thing and then goes off, and then John has his brilliant thing about that was the worst breakup, and
that's the worst breakup ever.
He just walks off as well.
Is this around the time? It's this episode where John outs that he knows that Jason is not there, right?
Yeah, that was before this.
John is a character where it's really unclear. I don't know that they show very often that he's had meaningful growth.
I mean, the fact that he didn't out Jason is pretty meaningful growth for him.
I mean, but then he did.
Yeah,
not until it became super relevant, though. That was the thing.
True.
It's
that's
like,
true. Yeah.
I think my point though is that there hasn't been that much focus on him out of all the four. I feel like
we got one episode that when he goes to like the spa with Tahani, like we got way more.
That was kind of a B plot in an episode as well. So it wasn't really. It wasn't like a Chip Driver mystery.
No, it was no Chip Driver episode. Yeah. But anyhow, so just because we do have another episode to talk about in this podcast, Chidi helps in a Chidi way, which means he stumbles in and falls himself. They have to drag him out, and at this point, Chidi's figured it out. He's like, "Oh, we're in the bad place. That's what this is." And
I love this play. I love
so good.
Eleanor and Michael, where they bring their heads close together and then they both do that evil laugh, and it's just like, it takes us back to the amount of times where Eleanor's like, oh my god, we're so. I find that so funny. It's great. Oh, you're a demon. Oh god, what does that say about me? And it's just like they are so in. Like they do have that very similar sense of humor, and I just love how we finally get to see them together doing this kind of like evil laugh kind of stuff, and like that machinations of being evil.
And then they leave the room and they just start staring at the TV like, come on, Brent. Yeah. Just realize it. Come on. And you get that moment. It's so good. Like you've been hating Brent.
Michael says, come on, you big doofus, or something like that.
But that moment where it clicks for Brent, that actor sells the fork out.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like, he crushes that scene.
It's just that realization.
No. and
He-
it's
he
just
don't-
like
he
it feels genuine.
Yeah.
it's like going through the 5 stages of grief speed run, and
In 10 seconds.
yeah, it's incredible because he sells it like denial. No, that can't be right. Like
Yep.
just like wait, and like reflecting on his tire. Wait, and just
And
the
it's
perfect way
believable.
that it.
Yeah.
Yes, but it ends on the perfect spot too. Just he can't even spit out the final "I'm sorry"
He
to
tries.
Chidi like the sincere "I'm sorry"
Yeah.
for
Just
how I've
I'm
been.
so sorry. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
shit.
It's
Shit.
perfect. It's perfect the way it just kind of like, woo, and then all
Yeah.
that sort of the sort of the bluey greeny glow that goes around them. It's almost like a force field that's basically stopping them from
Yeah.
moving.
Mhm.
And
It's
the look like
really,
just
really well done.
and the time freeze with Chidi's face of I don't forking believe you. Yeah.
But no,
But
you're right. That actor really does sell that really well because we've seen him just being this really entitled, like,
Prig.
you know,
It's
every
been a
sort of
pretty
like corporate CEO kind of like, I'm the best, I'm great. Oh, I'm great because I
he,
am amazing. Like,
he
I'm not great because I was born lucky, blah 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 blah. I'd be able to do this like at any point. If I was homeless, I'd have got to the position I was in, blah blah. And then him actually having to sort of like reflect on the fact that actually he is a bad person. And like you said, he speed runs the sort of series of Greece. He also speed runs real like almost like looking back on his entire life, and that's how I
Mhm.
kind of like see when he's doing that. No, 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 no. I'm a good person. I'm a good person. And it's almost like he's going through all the sort of memories of like, yeah, look, I did this which was really good, and that it's just terrible things.
Yeah.
Like he said hi to a black person. That makes him a good person. He didn't just slap him with a briefcase or something.
Or ask her for a tuxedo and a tan.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been a pretty one-note character throughout the entire point of this, but like that's the purpose of what he
yeah.
is, and it's
Yeah.
it's a one note that it kept on working for me for the most part. So that kind of like we get whiplash as viewers just as much as his character gets whiplash.
The
Yeah.
one note element of Brent works so well as well because it makes that revelation at the end hit even more and actually mean more as well, because it's almost like, he's got this, he's just been, I am so great. And then when he's suddenly realizing and having that moment of actually, no, I have been really terrible and
Yeah.
I'm so, and,
Yeah.
Seeing him
almost
humbled.
gets there.
Just in the moment of realization, he goes through like being humbled, realizing that he's been an a-hole and all this other stuff. So it's great.
So it's over. It's all over. The accountant has to tally up the points, figure out how they all did, and the humans are not allowed to hang out. So they get to just go do their own thing now, which is they're going to throw themselves funerals because they've all had so many funerals. As
This
Jason
They've
episode
died
title.
about 15
The,
times.
the episode title for this is great. The funeral of all funerals.
funerals that end all funerals.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I really enjoy this. It does kind of feel a little bit like filler, but like filler that we've earned, if that
It's
makes
good
sense.
filler.
Yeah, like it's just
Yeah.
like we're not really doing anything here that's important, but like I like seeing how they would have done their own funerals. Jason's is great. It's a little sad and depressing. Eleanor's is great. Tahani's is a little too much. I love it all.
It also goes back to like when we have in the first season where Eleanor started to think that she and Jason were soulmates, and they basically their funerals are that's fine, same place is fine. This works for us both, and it's just it's those similarities between the two characters again coming out, going maybe they were actually soulmates.
And you'll this is a very sentimental set of episodes. Even next week, they do lean in moments of like sweetness and looking back and sort of seeing how far we've come. And this episode, I think, swings a little more towards that than the kind of crazy humor that some of these are jam packed with.
Yeah, but I still like it. Like it still works in that way. Like
Yes.
it didn't feel like it didn't feel like a budget fixer. Like that, where I feel like this one could have been like, all right, well, let's not spend money on this episode so we can somewhere else. Even if that is what it is and it would not surprise me. they used it well to where it still works for this episode. So the first half you get your funerals, and then the back half we kind of get into the real meat of this episode, which is, did the experiment work? Which 3 out of 4, not that bad. And like, I even, like, to our credit earlier when we were talking about John did gain the least, but he did get a little better.
I feel like they should have graded it on a sum rather than individually. Like,
Yeah.
Brent was only -1. Like, you compare that, like they need to have like what do they call it? A curve. They need it graded on a curve. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they were grading on a curve because, like, later on in the episode, we find out that the reason he's got to like -1% was like he'd been way lower, and then it's like that last 30 seconds or something, he shot up to -1%, and it's the growth is like, I think that's what wins the argument, and it's like that sort of that growth, and like, you know, it, like, he had a year of being an absolute ashhole, and then in the last 30 seconds, there's like huge amounts of growth.
The way they have the accountant come out of the obelisk and do the tallying with the slot machine, and they get to Brent and they put in that Price is Right womp womp sound.
Wow.
Perfect. No notes.
So funny. And just like one of those, I just like when the accountant comes out, he puts the thing up, he's like, oh, I thought this would be fun. I had a lot of time in there.
It's looking a lot better though. Now he's not having to deal with weird sex things all the time.
That's true. Oh, and throwing it out there, this episode was directed by Kristen Bell. I mentioned this last week, but this is the episode that was directed by Kristen Bell. I think she did a great job. It's a very fun episode. But it also spanned, like, I always think of this as 2 separate episodes. I think of the funerals as 1 episode, then I think of them as talking to the judge about, like, did they succeed as 1 episode, because they do feel a little different.
That I can see that.
But
it's a great testament to the writing of the show as well, because each one of those could be just their own episode, because it feels like there's a lot there, but it's still these 2 storylines are sort of crammed into a 20-minute episode.
I feel like they would be lesser than if they tried to do that, though.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Oh, God,
but it just feels like there's so much there.
It's
like,
the tone.
It feels.
Yeah, you're right. They could probably mine that. A lesser show probably could mine both of those for what they're worth.
See, now is that a writer's choice or is that a director's choice? Because you could definitely feel the tone when it shifts, because that first 20 or 10 minutes is all about the funerals, and then you get to the consequences of the test. And it's a huge tonal shift, but was it a writer choice or director choice?
I'm going to give it director, because I think the tonal shift works, and I like Kristen Bell, so I'm going to give it to her. But when we see how the points worked out, and we get that moment of like that I'm so sorry actually spiked Brent, it has that like somewhat moment of like, it wasn't all for nothing. You can see like this actually worked. What will the judge rule? And she rules in favor of them.
Yeah.
The moment where she actually says, you won, and the look on Michael's face is one of the most cathartic things of like, oh, they did it. This is good. What? And then you have, so I'm going to reset the earth. Whoa.
Wait, what?
Just always taking the maximalist position, no matter
what
what
I love
happens.
about that as well. It's like, oh yeah, we won. It's great. Yeah. And it's like, but the result of them winning is the earth is going to be completely destroyed and restarted from scratch.
All of existence, everyone living and dead, all gone.
And the satisfaction that Sean gets from the, there's a word for what I'm trying to think of, but like the fact that they won and it's like a pyrrhic victory. Like it just doesn't
Schadenfreude? Like he's
a little bit.
Yeah.
He's
enjoying their misery.
Yeah, I will say, like, Sean's firing on all cylinders for what we watch at this point. They do not use them at a point where it gets grating. The kind of snippiness is a lot more clever and funny in some ways. Like they hit their stride with him.
Well, I think all the episodes we're recording today, he is just perfect. He's got to that point where it's just so good.
I see his ulterior motives. Like the reason why he is the way he is, we find out when Michael has that last conversation with
That's
him.
next week's episode.
And
But
I
yes.
know, I'm just saying it's
Yeah.
but this is a great lead in because now it's just like, I win still.
Yeah, like,
Sucks
oh,
for
you won, but you still lost. How about that? And she has her little garage door. The judge has a little garage door opener that's gonna like reset the thing, and Janet steals it. And it's like,
Yeah.
all right, so we have like maybe an hour that I can keep this from her. We need to figure something out. Right the fork now.
I love all the Janets coming through,
Mhm.
and it's
Oh,
just like they're just like, hi there, hello there, hi, hello, hi.
It is what
Oh,
it is, Daddy.
But it is what it is. Disco
Okay,
Janet comes
I
through.
know we check back on Marvel a lot for comparisons, but this felt very Endgame. Like just the
did.
portals coming out and the million Janets.
Yeah.
Disco
Hey, this
Janet.
did it first. This
did
did
it
it
first.
before
Did it?
Endgame. Yeah,
I was
yeah,
wondering.
This is 2019.
Very, yeah.
Wait,
Eat
no,
it,
that'd be
Marvel.
after Endgame, wouldn't it?
No, Endgame was like 2020.
It did not come out during pandemic.
It was post.
No,
was it
it was before
post-pandemic?
that.
No, it was before. Hold on.
2019.
Same year.
Okay.
Same year.
When did Endgame come out?
Let's see. This aired
What
on
month?
November 7th, or sorry, November. Would have been November 14th.
November 14th.
Let's see.
November. Yeah.
Endgame. I'm looking it up.
This is very good quality audio
Endgame did it
content.
first. I can tell you now because Endgame came out before November.
Yeah, it was May.
There you go. There you go.
But they were already making this show before.
And
then,
there's
so
the defense. There it is. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So moving on.
Marvel stole it from this. They got a hold of the script.
Yeah. Both Marvel and everyone else who ever invented the cavalry stole it from this. Yep. Anyhow, the Janets show up. They're all fantastic, and they all hide the little clicker thing, and they're going to need to figure out a way to distract her for the better part of an hour so they can try to come up with something to change the judge's mind, not distract the judge, change the judge's mind on resetting the entire Earth.
Right. It's a giant stall. And it's what, the second time in this show where she's taking a big swing at something to help the group. Like
Well, this isn't just her.
not-
She's convinced. Well, Michael's book has convinced all the Janets.
Yeah.
All of the
Yeah.
Janets are on Michael's
Well, it
side
convinced
now.
Bad Janet, and then she sent it to every other
Yeah.
Janet, and they have a group text now.
Yeah. But they're all on his side, much to, Sean's disappointment. But at the same time, it is what it is. And, she's still Bad Janet. She still uses its pages to wipe her butt. She doesn't have to poop. She chooses to. Oh, I love Bad Janet. But here we are.
Also, I love one of the things that the judge has in her bag is Justified Season 2 DVD.
Of course.
Yes.
But I also love how that's clearly a bootleg because that was not the official cover of the DVD. It looks like something that someone just printed off in the background and shoved into a DVD cover.
I wonder if they just couldn't clear the artwork. Like they got the show, but they couldn't clear the artwork. Like, that's a bridge too far. We'll make our own.
There's something
still a
very funny to
promotional
me
image
about.
of it.
There's something very funny to me about this judge who has access to everything choosing to watch it on DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As if she couldn't just pull a string up and
Blu-ray
be
was
like,
out. Yeah, the Blu-ray was out at that point. You could have had a HD version.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's not go too crazy.
Judge is the best. Judge is low-key one of my favorite characters in this entire show. She's so good.
Oh, yeah.
But here we are. We're at the end. What are we gonna do? I was gonna make a sports analogy, but I'm not really a sports guy, so I'm not gonna do that. We need our best player, so put him in, coach. There, I got there. They need Cheaty back. If they're gonna figure something out, they need their smartest person, which, no offense to anybody in the Brainy Bunch, it's clearly Cheaty.
Yeah.
Wake him the fork up. That's pretty much where this one ends.
Yep.
Maybe I should have, but I didn't know if I. We'll save it for next episode. Now that I think about it, I didn't know that we got the details in here next episode. So
The details about Cheaty?
yeah,
That's all next episode.
okay.
The
Well,
answer is
yeah,
like the Cheaty episode.
yeah. Well,
yeah.
I'll save it for then.
Okay. Anything I missed
It's
in
literally
these
a
two
smash
things?
cut to end credits, isn't it? It's like we need to wake up cheating, and then it's just like boom, end credits.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
And they pan to Cheaty sitting in his cool, laid back
Yeah.
Toilet.
I love in the funeral for Jason, he is just on a float
Like
in
a
the
Lilo
pool
thing.
with like
Yeah.
glasses on. He's holding like a
A cocktail of some
cocktail.
sort.
Oh my!
Yeah.
How did I skip the? We figured out why Chidi is so jacked. They finally answered the question. Like,
Yeah.
why is this guy so ripped? When he was
That's the next
14.
episode.
No, it's not. It's when they're moving him off the toilet. Like, can somebody pick him up? It's when they're
Yeah.
trying to drag him off the thing.
Oh,
it's in this
yeah.
episode. How did he get so jacked? When he was 14, someone told him that working out would alleviate anxiety, and he basically never stopped.
I also
Good
love
stuff.
that in like Chidi's funeral, he's sitting there with his book, What We Owe Each Other. Like
Yeah.
he's
Mhm.
holding that book in the middle. It's lovely, like just like a small detail, which like it's one of those things that I love about this show. Like the small details
Yeah.
like that.
They don't miss that stuff, which is great. All right, ready for quotes?
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
I don't think Ryan's gone first in a while. We can let Ryan go first this week.
No one stepped on his quote.
I
We didn't
know.
have a, oh my god, that's my quote. That's
Well,
my quote.
By going first, that does mean he has to wait through all of the other quotes to get back to him. So someone could still steal his quote.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's like a snake draft.
Yeah, perfect.
I have a
would-
lot of quotes though. I mean, like I
What?
have a
No way.
yeah,
I'm
but this is
surprised. It's my
no,
surprise
but I mean,
face.
like I have a lot with this one, but then the last episode of the next recording thing, I've got an entire A4 page just full of quotes for that episode. There is so much in there to choose from.
All right, Ryan, let her rip.
Oh man, was this a bad idea? This is Michael talking. What if this was a bad idea? Jason, it wasn't, homie. It was a good idea. Can anyone else weigh in? No,
Yeah.
I'm serious. In football, trying to run out the clock and hoping for the best never work. It's called prevent defense. You don't have to take any chances. You just try and hang on to your lead. But prevent defense just prevents you from winning. It's always better to try something. Tahani, Jason, that was coherent. Jason responds, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
There's a great bit just a little bit later where he makes a second good
Football
analogy. as
quote,
well.
yeah.
I don't know if that's anyone else's quote though, because oh my god, when Tahani just sort of like leans into Eleanor, it's so funny.
That was, and legitimately, like, there was that quote and another one. So if no one else says it, I'm going to say that one too.
We'll get it at the end. Joel, what was yours
Yeah.
from this one?
So this is actually one of those cases where there's like two snippets of comments that loop together. Starts with Chidi in the intro room. Did he find anything? Just some song lyrics that Michael wrote. Here's a trippy little ditty about a train to groovy city. Open up your freaky crystal mind and we'll have a cosmic good time. See, that makes me think we're in hell. And then later, Michael, why does everything I do fall apart so close to the end? My first experiment, now this experiment, I only got halfway through writing the purple train to Groovy City. I just ran out of creative juice.
I like how that was halfway. So 2 lyrics.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's doing the best he can. He's really into this human stuff.
It's mostly instrumental, Matt.
Yeah. It's just,
I can buy it.
Yeah.
It's like
Wait, were we
one of
supposed
the,
to do our two
like a
quotes?
jazz.
It
song
would be
kind of
no,
thing.
I was thinking like club music. It'd be like Jason would do the backtracking of
yeah.
it.
Oh, there you
and
go.
then that would just be
Ah, right.
repeated
Yeah,
over and
yeah.
over in the song.
I'm thinking back to oh Hepcat, don't groove straight. You know
Oh,
where the
Yeah. Michael
Alright.
wants so badly to
so
be a
I was
person.
picturing.
He really wants to be a human. All right, so here we go. So my quote, I gotta give John a quote in this one. I don't think I've given John a quote yet, but he had a great one in this episode. It's in the very beginning when they're talking about like I don't remember why she comes up. He's like, oh yeah, or dumb shorts Kathy. And Chidi just looks at him and goes, what is your problem with her? I mean, shorts Kathy? What's not my problem?
What I love
cracks
that
me
is the air quotes on her name.
Yeah, just on her
like,
name. Kathy? What's not my problem? It just warms my heart. He's still like he's a better person than he was. He's still really bitchy. All right, Matt, go ahead.
oh Brent, you big white oaf.
It's a great
that
one.
was
That's
very
it?
concise.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm not used to that from Matt. All right, what's your next episode? Pick one. We can do backups afterwards.
Pick one. Oh, there's so many good things from the
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
The funeral one was a good one. plethora to choose from.
So how's everybody's
Sean.
weekend going?
Yeah.
As I
Don't worry.
started,
There.
Sean, Michael, bounces off of me and sticks to you. Wait, no, I messed that up. But first say something mean to me, really cruel, like something just guts me. You're totally gonna be glue.
When he actually does get him, just the said, "You're glue."
You're glue. I wrote that down, and that's where it ended.
That was
I
one of
just like,
mine.
Yeah.
there's so much in that paragraph.
It's so good. All right. Well, mine is
I have a
mine's
few.
mine's much easier. Because I don't even have the whole thing written down because I just couldn't. But I was laughing too hard and I didn't feel like rewinding. So I'm just gonna say what it was. My quote for this episode is the song Jason sings at Eleanor's funeral. Just the
Sure.
womp womp womp. Because it caught me so off guard, and it really shouldn't have. But he's like, I can't figure out how to express my words, so I decided to put them into this song.
And like everyone jumps out of their skin as well. Like,
So yeah, that was my quote. Just him singing his little DJ monstrosity. All right, that would make Joel next.
There's lots of good quotes from the funerals themselves, but there's one where Jason is trying to convince people about where to hold Janet's funeral. Okay, Janet, where do you want to go for your funeral? Dave and Buster's, probably. You probably want to go to Dave and Buster's. I think I heard her say Dave and Buster's, so let's just go there. We can sort it out later.
Oh, Jason's the best. Remember when he was just John Yu the monk? None of you
Yep.
knew who he was yet.
Simpler
just a
times.
simpler time. I love how we both thought this.
All right, Ryan, what you got?
Jason and Eleanor are sitting by the pool and they're talking, and Eleanor goes, "You never really talked about your mom." "Yeah, she died when I was pretty young. I lost her to the big sea.
Yep.
That's what we called the crocodile that lived by my house." "I'm just playing. It was cancer. Watch me do a handstand."
The handstand,
That sold it.
jovial. Yeah. No notes. Perfect.
My other one would be at the beginning when they're like, "There's literally only one person here who is smart enough and thoughtful enough to save humanity." And Jason steps forward. "Fine, I'll do it."
Not you, dummy. Good stuff. All right, who else had extra ones that we didn't get to?
Tahani was super nice, and she deserved for people to be nicer to her than they were. The only sad thing is that she never got over her speech impediment. Tahani's face. It's not even like angry. It was just like, well, he tried.
That was two good analogies in a row. I'm now worried that he's a demon in a Jason suit.
And look at Eleanor's face. Is like, whoa, you're onto something.
Brent,
Oh,
can you
God.
hear me? If it somehow helps, there's a small dove in your pocket.
Never mind.
Simone.
We hope that our early success.
Go ahead.
We hope that our early successes make up for the embarrassing mess we become, like Facebook or America.
Simone talking.
Wow.
"No, it's not. Jason is proof. And if you need more evidence that this isn't the good place, clearly he's not the only one who doesn't belong." Brent, actually, she's right. Everyone looking just dead at Brent. "And I know it for a fact." And Chidi goes, "For the first time ever, I'm desperate for you to keep talking."
Yeah.
That was good. All right, I'm gonna dial all the way back to the very beginning of the episode of the. All right, you can perform. You convinced me with that pocket thing. Oh, Boffo, it's gonna be so great. Wait, you're being mean, aren't you?
It's the Buffo. It's like,
That's yep.
He's just so excited that there's the wind out of his sails. You're being mean, aren't you? Yep.
there's a bit in when all the Janets start coming through, and you hear like there's all the voices and all that sort. And there's one of them that's like a bit more loud than the others, and it's one of the Janets saying, "I am here for a certain reason and no other reasons." And I'm sure it's a neutral Janet.
Oh, it's got to be a neutral Janet. I love the neutral Janets. Hey, all right. I think we've done it. I think that's
If
about
he,
all we
if
can-
he gets to bring up random good people into it, I should be able to bring random bad people. Call up Elizabeth Holmes. No. Henry Kissinger. No. PewDiePie.
I'm okay with this. That's a joke that's not aging very well. I'm
I mean,
very
think
okay
it's-
with it.
I think it's aging better
What-
because he is that
Well,
terrible.
But
He's-
maybe he is, but also internet moves at the speed of sound, so like he's already back in the background. So it's like it's
Yeah,
one of
like-
those that's gonna age poorly, I
yeah,
think.
like no one gives
I
a
suppose
shit about him anymore.
The reference, I guess.
Yeah,
is what
that's
you
what I mean. It's like the
referring
joke still works, but because he sucks, but no one cares as much about him, so he's not like in the cultural
Yeah.
lexicon, I guess
It-
is what I'm looking for.
His shittiness is grandfathered in.
Yeah.
to. So it's aged badly in a different way as opposed to the Star Trek series, which listed Elon Musk under great people of history.
Yes, aging differently. Yeah. More to that. Blech. He's the grossest person alive.
I might
yeah.
not watch that show then. That's bad.
It's fine. It's only Star
But-
Trek Discovery. And to be fair, if you find like when you find out like a background of the character that says it, it kind of starts to make sense as to why they said it. It's like,
To be fair, I was
oh.
probably not going to watch that show. Anyway.
Plugs. Let's get into plugs. Keep pulling these rip cords. This show and every other show at HJPod.com. That's it for me.
Super GG Radio Video Game Podcast. I finished Mass Effect. It was fine.
You
You
played
might-
it the wrong way.
Wait, what?
I had my thing ready to go, Brian, and you cut me off.
Sorry, go ahead. was fine
Afterthoughts
'cause you
Book
fucked
Club.
it
We're in the middle of Dune right now.
Good.
Well, at least he's doing one thing right, I suppose.
Yeah.
He's actually reading Dune.
That's my quota.
You might find me on the Front Row Network?
when it happens.
Question mark.
I mean, I got no room to talk. We haven't released an After the Hype in like well over like 2 months when we said we're going to start doing bi-weekly. So what do I know? Matt, anything to plug?
You've been busy binging with your buddies.
I have been. And then work was a lot. I did like 60 hours this week, man. It was a lot.
Proud of you.
I'm not.
I didn't expect the
your back.
plumber side job, you know.
Yeah, I know.
That was a bit of a turn.
Matt, anything to plug?
They're spraying down pipes and
Matt, anything to plug?
yeah.
And
All
I
right.
blog.
Matt, anything but bye. Bye.
Bye.
That's how we're
Pipes.
ending this one. Bye. You know, plug some pipes. Bye. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
We're laying pipe.
bye. No.
Poke yourself.
There it is.
See you at the crossroads.
Go fuck yourself, baby. Fuck yourself. Fuck yourself.